You. Hey, you. Yeah? You. Do you ever watch a YouTube video where somebody is trying to build a scaffolding and they're struggling so hard just to place scaffolding in the way they want that they revert to dirt? Or do you just want to use scaffolding but you never know how it works or why even you would use scaffolding? Well, then this video is for you, because I will be giving you a guide on how to place scaffolding, how you can use it, what situations it might be useful in, and so on. So sit back, relax, and let's use scaffolding. So to craft our scaffolding, we need bamboo and string. Bamboo is easily farmable using something like this. So the bamboo grows, the observer detects that, then there is redstone here. So it pushes the bamboo and then it gets harvested into this chest. For our string, there are two options. The first is a spider spawner, which you can convert into a farm. The other is a duper. This is a design from Tonk MC. It's very simple. You just have to shear this string, and then once you do this, you have infinite string. So very simple. Scaffolding is kind of tricky to place because some blocks don't allow scaffolding to be placed upon. So I have a little assortment here. Blocks that aren't full blocks like stairs or lower slabs don't allow scaffolding to be placed, but top slabs do, as does mud, even though mud is a weird kind of block. Path blocks don't, and glass does. Farmland doesn't, for the same reason as the path block, because it's 1 pixel lower. Soul sand also does, even though I think it's like a little bit lower, but I don't know for sure. Leaves it doesn't allow, or honey it doesn't, but slime it does. Composters and other kinds of things that are workstations that are shaped strangely don't work. Azalea bushes, however, work because they have a flat surface which is at the block level. So now, how can we place our scaffolding? To go up, we just place it on the ground and then we face the lower half. And then you see it goes up, like that. To go sideways, you have to face the side you want it to go. So you see like that. We can also, if we have a tower of scaffolding, go up and put it like that sideways. But then there's a limited amount of blocks we can go. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can see the 7th block falls down. So then you would have to build a new tower and then you can go over again. If you want to place scaffolding in a tower and you want to bridge out, but you don't want to be at the top, you can also be still in the tower, and then if you just place at the level you're looking, it places at the height of your head. So then you have to go 1 up and then you're in there. So you can't place it and then walk forward because then your feet are at this height and then you just fall through. Also, if you want to use scaffolding to go up and you're clicking on the top side, you have to crouch. So it just places it on whatever block you're clicking at. So if you crouch, it places just where you're looking. So like this. So our first use case of scaffolding is very simply scaffolding up. So for example, I am terraforming and I have these cliffs, but I want to place some hanging roots. This is a bad example because the cliffs are low enough that I could place them like this. But if the cliffs are higher, you could use your scaffolding to go like this, and then place one, and then you could go out a bit, and go here, and say I want one here, and so on. So you can use scaffolding to scaffold at your builds, or if you just need to go to a high place, for example this chest, which is inconveniently placed, you can go like this. Or if you are going AFK at a farm and you need to be a certain amount of blocks above it, you can just pillar up all the way to where your AFK platform is. And it's also very simple to break. Our second use case is visualizing the builds you are trying to make. So for example, if I want to build some sort of small house here and I want a tower next to it, I can place some scaffolding to see how big my tower has to be in relation to the house, and I can just kind of visualize if it's going to work. Our third use case is decorating, because scaffolding is a beautiful block which can be used for a chair, for example. With the addition of the bamboo wood blocks, the options for detailing with bamboo have gotten a lot broader, and this chair, for example, is just a nice thing. You can also use it as your windows, so if we go through here, we just have a nice yellowish window. The only downside to this is that you can jump through the window, which isn't really realistic. You can also have bamboo as some sort of table, like here. Bamboo is just a great all-round detailing block. A fourth thing I often use scaffolding for is building with deep slate, with just normal deep slate. Deep slate is directional, so this side is a bit darker than the top texture, and I often like to use the top texture, so you can just place scaffolding where you want your deep slate to go, and then if you break the scaffolding and place the deep slate at about the same time, you get the top texture without having to go around the back, placing something, then going, placing your deep slate, and then probably removing these blocks afterwards. So it's very useful to just have some scaffolding if you want to use the top texture of your deep slate. The fifth use of scaffolding is just scaffolding as scaffolding. So here I made a little castle ruin, which has some scaffolding to really sell the vibe of a ruined castle, which is maybe under construction, or maybe some scaffolding has been placed to make sure it doesn't topple over or break down any further. So for that, scaffolding is also very useful. Redstone. Scaffolding can also be used in some redstone contraptions. The first one is a simple system to send a signal upwards. So we have our scaffolding here, then we went over one and up, and as you can see it stands on a trapdoor. So if I flick this lever, the trapdoor gets retracted. This gets a bottom texture because now it's connected to this one as a side thing, whereas before it was just a separate pillar. And now you can see that the copper bulb has lighted up. We use an observer which looks at the scaffolding and sees that this has changed because now it is not overhanging, and now it is, and the observer detects that. So that's a very simple way to put some signals going upwards. Another very useful thing about scaffolding is that it disables entity cramming. So, for example, if we have some zombies in here, let me just spawn a whole lot of zombies in here. Yeah, so that's just a little more zombies than you normally would have. And normally they would be dying because of entity cramming, but as you can see, there is scaffolding in there and they don't die. So there's a use case for that in some farms. And now, peace and quiet. Scaffolding is also very useful when you're trying to transport some items. So I have a simple water stream with some ice, and I put scaffolding as the separator for the water. I know you can also use pressure plates, but scaffolding is also useful for this. And in this case, our upward signal machine from over there is also useful because now I flick this, we see the potatoes coming out, and everything works perfectly. Don't ask me why I put that extra observer over there. What are you looking at me for? I have no more redstone things I know. I'm not a redstoner. Look at this face. Does he look like he knows anything about redstone? No, he doesn't. Scaffolding is a fuel source. So I have some scaffolding, I have some fish, and scaffolding can be burned. I don't know why you would ever use scaffolding, since you need some bamboo anyways, and you can just use the bamboo or the bamboo blocks. So I don't know why you would use scaffolding as a fuel source, but if you ever really need a fuel source and you only have scaffolding, now you know. Scaffolding is also useful when you're trying to get rid of water or lava. So this is just a pool of lava, and maybe don't go in the lava. Oh god, I'm going to die. Whew. Okay, so don't go in the lava, but if you're playing it safe, you can very simply clear some lava and then get all your scaffolding back. So for our more mischievous scaffolding use case, we are quite a ways up. I'm going to go in survival. Oh, yo, look at this. Oh, what? Oh. Okay, so that was a trap, obviously. This is a trap chest, that's why I put a sign on it, so you don't see the little red pixels saying it's a trap chest. And then this is how I made it work. So the trap chest powers this redstone dust. The observer sees this, then powers this piston, which breaks the scaffolding, and the scaffolding is what held up the sand. So the last thing I want to show you is how you can use scaffolding to clutch. So when you're falling from a great height and you have scaffolding in your hotbar, you can use it to negate all fall damage simply by placing it whilst you're crouching, because if you don't crouch you will just splat. So something like this. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. First try. So that was how I use scaffolding. I don't use scaffolding in all those ways, but in most of those ways. I hope you learned something about how to use scaffolding, and I hope you will be using scaffolding some more